So for today, we're going to be looking at the Blackletter set. This is an armor set that came out last season from Eververse, so I do apologize that I'm a little late on this. But for this video, we're going to be looking at how it looks, how it shaders, my personal thoughts, and overall, pretty excited for this armor set because I think a lot of the sets that I made for it are pretty cool. But if you guys like the video, like, comment, subscribe really does help because a huge portion of people are actually not subscribed. So if you can do me a favor, like, comment, sub, hit the bell notification because that also does help. Also remember that the Discord is open, so if you want to join, just go to the description. The link should be in the description, and when you get in, just showcase some of your best sets. That's probably what I'm going to ask new people to do. Just showcase one of your best sets, and you might never know, I might make a whole full-blown video on it. So other than that, let's get into it. So to start off, here is the Hunters. So I actually really like the Hunter set. I think it's really good. The really cool thing is the fact that the arms have this really cool glow, which unfortunately is only on the arms. But the only thing that's problematic is the shadering. I'm just gonna get into the shadering real quick because it's really important to showcase the problem with this set. So let me that's actually a really good shader for this one. Yeah, so it's probably something more just my problem rather than the set. No, I think it's an armor problem. So for example, you can see this like really weird texture on the arms. Yeah, that's the moss, unfortunately. And I say unfortunately because I think this set looks really cool. It's just you have to be careful with what shadering you use, because this is a good example of like a shader that like kind of like hides it pretty well. I say pretty well because you can still see it here and there, but it looks more like the armor is deteriorated rather than it's a piece of physical thing right there. But there are some sets that will just showcase it immediately, which is very unfortunate. I'm just gonna go through shading so that you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, this is a perfect shader. You guys can see like the blue right there is the moss, which is very unfortunate. Again, like I said, I would love an option to turn it on, off, and on, specifically that moss, because that moss is a physical piece of this armor set, which is very unfortunate because we do have a few armor sets that have that problem, and it definitely is a problem. So you're just gonna have to be careful with the shadering because again, there's gonna be some that just showcases it. Like this is another perfect example. I know some people might say, oh well, you could probably play it off as the armor is like nicked or damaged, but the problem is I see these sets as a set. The problem is I see these sets not as a set but as pieces to be utilized. So that's going to be the very big unfortunate part about this. So it's not the worst thing in the world, mind you. Like again, I'm definitely going to find different like avenues to go with this armor set, but I just rather not have to fight the armor. That's like my biggest gripe about sets is I don't want to fight the armor. I just want to look at the armor and be like, okay, I'm going to utilize this in whatever which way I want, instead of being like, okay, so there's limitations with this armor set, let me work around these limitations so that way I can make it look good. So I know that's a small thing to nitpick, but again, it's just something that I don't want to fight. But the best pieces here by far have to be the chest piece, because the chest piece could be utilized with this right here, this one right here. And then when you do the shadering, you can definitely do something like this, which looks really cool in my opinion. Other than that, the other cool thing is the fact that the boots have like the claws right there, so you can go for an animal look if you really wanted to. That's something I do for my Titan, if I remember correctly, and my Warlock as well. Yeah, the chest piece has to be the best piece, and then I would have to say the arms, and then the helmet. Boots are like, honestly, all of it is really good aside from the cloak, because the cloak is pretty terrible with it because the fur or the moss that looks like really weird fur at the back looks just terrible. So Hunters, let me know what you guys think. As for the Titans, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I think there is a bad piece here. It's the helmet. I'm not a fan of the helmet. It's not bad, definitely not bad. I just don't like it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like visually I like how it looks, I just don't like it as a pieces set. But with this set, it looks amazing, obviously. I would say the best piece here, or pieces I should say, would probably be the arms and the boots. I think the boots probably went out by a little bit because the set that I made with it looks absolutely amazing. Dude, honestly, I would like the chest piece if this moss didn't actually stop right there. If the moss like covered a little bit more on the arms, I think that would have been better. That being said, I understand that that would have caused some clipping, but it's Destiny 2. It's not the first time we've seen clipping in armor set. Come, let's be real. That being said, yeah, the arms I think are really beautiful. I think the boots I think are amazing. They're both symmetrical too, which is, we love to see that. And then the mark is kind of like not bad, but kind of like whatever's. Definitely better than the helmet though. Shader wise, again, same problem. This one's even more so because there's a lot more moss on this one, specifically on the boots. Is like this right here plus this big ass piece, this right here, all of the arms. Yeah, Titans, you guys got the worst pieces for the moss, which again, I just really wish we could like turn that on and off. I don't understand why we can't have that option in the game. Like, I feel like just let us retain like the design without having to be to do something problematic or use a shader where it's like, I wouldn't use a shader normally, but you know, because of the stupid ass moss. And it's because it's like, it's the same thing with some armor sets that I'm like remembering off the top of my head. I think there's a Warlock set that has like the same problem, and it pisses me off to no extent because it's stupid. Like this, look at that shit, bro. It's fucking ridiculous. So yeah, I just think like the easiest choice would just give, or Bungie, let us just have a toggable, like make it toggable. Like, again, like I said, a button right here that says like armor effects, turn it off or on. And then, or if you want to be super, super cool, you could actually have armor effects and then have it with like different things. Like, oh, do you want the moss off or on? Do you want the glows on or off? And then you would have like another, honestly, I would love to make a video of like what I would do if I was like in charge of like the cosmetic stuff. That would be the easiest change. I would be like, make stuff toggable and make glows toggable, as in let me choose what colors I want the glows to be. That would, oh my god, bro, let's just stop talking about it because I'm just gonna get too excited. But let me show, I want to showcase the one that I'm thinking about because it's so freaking cool, brother. So that's definitely not the helmet I was using, so that's a little weird. Let me change it real quick. Yeah, dude, I just made this set not too long ago and I like fell in love with it. I call it my grizzly bear, for reasons you guys will see soon. Is it this one? It is this one. So yeah, bro, when I made this set, I was like, this set is cooking, bro. I usually don't like to showcase the full sets, but this one's an exception because I think this one's amazing. Again, like I said, I've used Ursa Furiosas with the ornament a lot, and I've made some grizzly bear looks, but this one by far takes the cake. Let me know what you guys think. And then last but not least, Warlocks. You guys have a weird set. It's not bad. It's odd. That's the best way to explain it. I think the helmet's super cool. That moss part pisses me off, but whatever. The chest piece, I think is actually pretty decent. The boots, I think is really cool for this moss piece because the way I utilize it is much more of a fur type of thing. So I like the set that I made with that. And I think the arms are actually pretty cool. Bond, kind of boring, but to Warlocks, bonds are usually pretty boring. So I really have nothing to add. That would just be me reiterating of just the fact that like the moss pisses me off sometimes. Specifically like the moss that's like in the armor, and when I say in the armor, I specifically mean, let me find a good shader to really, so that way you guys can understand what I mean. I might have to go to the shit. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so like there's a perfect example here of like this moss right here that is actual physical moss. And when I say physical moss, I mean like it's actually in 3D rather than this, which is in the armor itself. So like if the moss was actually on top of the armor, I don't think I would mind that much, because then it would be like, oh, it's a physical item, which means I can actually do a lot more than rather just the armor just has a tint that's really weird. So hopefully I made that sound understandable. I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't. It's just the fact that like you can see in the arms that it's like, oh yeah, that's moss because it's tinted that color. But then again, like I said, when you change it, it's like, okay, well now it looks like the armor's damaged, which I wouldn't have minded that at all if that's what it would be. But no, like something like this where it's like, okay, what the fuck is that? It looks like someone got raspberry on their arms. So Warlocks, let me know what you guys think about your set classes. Hunter, Titan, Warlocks, let me know what y'all think about your armor. So this video, I'm probably going to be probably showcase it next to the Halloween set. I don't know how I'm going to do this one yet because I still have the Eververse sets that I haven't gotten to yet. Those are probably going to be done as well, hopefully by the end of this season, so that way we could look at the new stuff without having to look at some of the older stuff, because I didn't want to do that again. So we'll see how that goes, but the Blackletter set will most likely be coming up either this week or next week. I don't know, we'll see, man, because I don't like to parallel two armor reviews in the same week, because then it's just a lot of like reviews in one week. But that being said, I still have like exotic videos to make and other like fashion videos to make, so that's kind of like another reason why I'm just like so overwhelmed, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. And not only that, I got a job real fast, so thankfully it's probably going to be super part-time. I'm working at GameStop again, so it's probably going to be super part-time, but that does mean I'm going to be working on this less than I was. So let me know what you guys think. I appreciate y'all coming to this point. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, go to the description if you want to join the Discord. Other than that, be safe. I will see you guys later.